Hello, everybody. It is Kelly O'Neill, and I want to welcome you back to another Profit-ology case study. And today I am here with our Profit-ology Business Incubator client, Gabriela now I always butcher the last, Manciulea.
Yeah, very close.
Okay. And tell everyone a little bit about your business and what it is that you are up to.
Hi, Kelly. I'm very happy to be here. First of all, what I do is I help entrepreneurs rise above the chaos and the pressure of always having to do more faster. And the way I do this is by showing them how to shift from constantly being busy and swimming against ideas and possibilities into being really productive so that they can create the results they are craving.
I love it. And you know that I am 10,000% behind the message and the work that you're doing in the world. And so let's actually talk about this for a minute. I know we're going to be talking about clarity on this, but let's talk about people's addiction to being busy. What's from your professional opinion, what is going on with that?
What is going on is that we are always taught that we have to do more. We are always taught that we have to prioritize and create a big to-do list and always be checking off instead of being taught to focus on high payoff activities.
Except for in PBI.
Exactly.
Yes. Because we have very aligned, you and I have very aligned messages.
Yes.
Right? So I agree though. And I feel like, you know, I can tell you myself personally, you know, first of all, when I was in the corporate world, I will never forget, you know, there were a few key instances where I kind of went, what am I doing? Right. And I will remember the very first one was I was in the corporate world and I've always been such a high achiever. And so you guys, you're going to think I'm crazy. You're going to think I'm nuts. In fact, looking back on it, I'm like, what the? I was nuts. But I was also a lot younger back then. And I remember I used to get up at 4:30. I was at the gym by 5. I took a high impact cardio class between 5 and 6. I would get ready for work right after that at the gym. I was in the office by 6:30, 6:45 every day, right? And then I would work 12 hours straight, right? Because even back then, being in that corporate world, there was so much emphasis put on like how long you're working, how you know, how hard you're working. We didn't take lunches. We might go out and you ate at your desk, and that was what was rewarded. And I will never forget that on a Friday, after I had already put in 12 to 14 hour days for the first 4 days of the week. On Friday, I decided that I was going to leave at 5, and everyone goes, why are you leaving so early? And then my boss on Monday pulled me in and said, we need to have a talk about the example you're setting for the office leaving at 5. And I was like, I'm here like 2 hours before everybody else is. So we can talk about it, but it's not going to go well for you. Right? I was even a spitfire back in that age. But I do think that that's the case. It's like we're taught that in corporate America. And then you get into a lot of these training programs and they are about do more, do more, do more, do more, do more, do more. And the problem is that a lot of times the reason it's not working, in fact, most of the time, the reason it's not working is because they're not actually doing the right things. They're not focused on the right things. They're doing the busy work that they've become accustomed to. So I'm so thrilled that you are helping people through this.
Thank you. I really do believe in you know, there is this message that bothers me a lot. We praise multitasking.
Right.
And that's not working.
No. In fact, you know, it's interesting because I do have social media on my phone, not necessarily because I desire it, but because it is a necessary function to the way that I market in the world. I need to have my phone with me. However, you know what I don't have on my phone? Email. I have no email on my phone. And people think I'm crazy. I also log out of my social accounts on the nights and weekends so that I can't see the dinging coming in, because we've become like Pavlov's dogs. Every time an email dings, it's like you think you have to immediately respond to it. Well, just because an email comes in does not mean you need to respond to it.
Yes,
you know,
that's right.
Taking your time offline and really setting those boundaries for yourself so that you can be productive and efficient is so important. Gabrielle, I need to interview you in this community, in our circle, and also in PBI. We got to do an interview about this, because this is a whole separate interview just on this whole subject, because it's brilliant. So let's talk about your business for a minute. So tell me, how long have you been in business?
Oh, I've been in business for the past probably 3 years with the productivity.
Okay, great. And before that, what were you doing?
I was a Pilates and bar instructor.
Pilates and a bar instructor. Okay, perfect. And so you started with the productivity. And what was going on in your business, before you learned about the Profit-ology process? Kind of what was going on for you in your business?
So I developed this obsession to get clarity for myself. And I've been looking for it in so many places. You don't even want to know how many other courses I've tried, other programs, other books. I'm loaded. Yet, what had happened is that I felt I'm so close. I knew my thing. I knew what I'm good at. I knew what I'm doing, yet putting it into a very clear message was the struggle.
Yes, so, I call that circling the drain.
Exactly.
It's like you feel like you're right there, and with your message and your positioning, and you're circling the drain, but you can't sink the ball, right? And there's something going on. How many of you guys feel like that are watching this right now? Like you're right there, but you're still kind of, it feels a little off to you. And sometimes you get what I call the Scooby-Doo, huh? Right? Like you get the Scooby-Doo, or people are like nodding nicely and they're like, great. And then they walk away and they're like, right? They don't know what you're saying. So okay, so keep going, because you're not alone, right? Like this happens so often.
Unfortunately, yeah. So what I noticed is, because I couldn't just pinpoint my message, I started losing the confidence. Whenever I had a meeting, a new encounter or so, I wasn't so confident anymore to say whom am I and what I do. I wasn't so confident on presenting my offers because I felt off.
Right. And that happens, right? If your message isn't aligned and you are not feeling aligned with the offer that you've got, it is going to show up in your numbers, right? It's one of the first places we look when someone's not getting the results that they desire. It's like, all right, tell me your elevator pitch. Let me see your offer. And I'm not just listening to what they're saying, I'm listening to how they're saying it.
Yes, I remember this.
Oh, did I call you on this? Did I give you a love note? Yeah. So because it's like, you can feel it when someone is like, it's almost like they're asking the question. They're like, well, I do this. And it comes across more like a question, which doesn't instill that confidence in the buyer to be able to make that decision moving forward. Right. And that's kind of what was happening, right? Is that you weren't able, and how was that affecting your business? What was going on for you?
Everything was slowing down. I literally felt that I'm repelling clients instead of attracting. So,
which also then becomes scary.
Yeah, and the more you do it, the worse it is. Right. So, and when I found about you, I was actually wrapping up another big program, and I was like, And what I did, I enrolled in the Marketing to Millionaires. I'm honest. I heard.
No, please be honest. You did what?
I only heard half of it. And there was something that you said, and it's burned in my brain. It's like imprinted. You said no step skipping. And that's when the light bulb went off for me. I said, oh, I need to be here. Why? Because it became all of a sudden clear that I'm step skipping. With everything I'm doing, I'm putting pieces together, yet I don't have the foundation.
Because again, that's not your fault, right? And you know that I tell all of you guys that that's not your fault. It's like the same thing that's being taught in the market, that people are rewarding multitasking, they're rewarding busyness, they're rewarding just doing stuff. They're also rewarding that they're skipping completely over strategy and clarity, and they're getting right into, here's how you market, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. And then what's happening is it's creating those kinds of courses that are teaching that. And it's not that they're not great courses. And you know, there's a lot of shitty courses out there and a lot of shitty programs, let's just be honest. But there's also a lot of really phenomenal programs and a lot of phenomenal courses out there. The challenge is that if you don't have this foundation piece and you're going into marketing, which is what we teach in the Profit-ology process not to do, right? If you go straight into the marketing, you don't have this clarity, and then you get into the doing, and then that's exactly what happens. It's not landing. It starts, you don't feel, something feels off for you. It's not aligned. You start losing your confidence. You start second guessing yourself, and you don't know how to figure it out. And then the mentors are just saying, well, you just need to do more. Just go, or go try this other thing. Oh, okay. So Facebook Lives aren't working for you. Try a podcast. A podcast isn't working. Write a book. And they're telling you all the stuff to do. So it's really not your fault.
I'm happy to be here, though.
I'm glad we're happy you are here, because you are such a light. So that's what happened. So you were having this challenge. Your business slowed down. You realized you're step skipping. And what did that mean for you? Like, in that moment when I said that for you, what kind of really hit home?
For me, I say it very simple. It was like the answer to all my questions. Right? Because I had so many questions that were formed or less so. They were just flying through my head and trying to, you know, you also have this saying, throwing spaghettis to the wall. I was doing that.
Yes.
And I was questioning, where is the answer? What am I missing? There is something that I'm missing. And the minute you said step skipping was for me, oh, that's what I missed. It was an instant answer and connection.
And I have a question for you. Why were you not asking your other mentors were you asking your other mentors the stuff that was flying through your head?
I did.
And were you getting an answer, or?
Yes, but I think it's a problem of finesse and detailing. For them, my message sounded right. They didn't see anything wrong with it, right? Or with positioning or anything else. They were seeing exactly as you said, do more. It's gonna come, it's gonna align, do more, do more, do more.
Yeah. And this is one of the challenges we see in the market is, you know, positioning and messaging is a specialty, and not everyone has that skill set. Just like I don't have the skill set for like accounting. I'm not a detail person. Like, you're not going to find me building websites. It's just not my jam, right? There's certain things where I'm like, oh, that's out of my it's out of my scope. It's not in my lane. And messaging is truly like, you know, I kind of compare it to being a neurosurgeon, right? You know, you don't take a weekend class or read a couple books and all of a sudden now you know how to message. I mean, I've literally been trained by the best of the best in the industry for 25 years. I have been trained on developing messaging and branding and positioning that works. That is what I was hired to do in my corporate career, and that is what I do for businesses now. So it's not something that everyone knows how to do, right? Just like not everyone knows how to run Facebook traffic, and not everyone knows how to create funnels that convert. Like, just not everyone knows how to do those things. So when you got that and you realize that, you dove in, and one of the things that you have said is you're like, I knew I needed clarity. How, tell everyone now, standing on the side of it that you're standing on, talk to them a little bit about the importance of clarity and what that means in a business, and to you, and what you've also seen in our PBI community.
So what happened for me after I got my clarity and the love note from you, it's this. I instantly saw my business in a whole different way. I started creating all my offers in a whole different way. The way I'm going in meetings, groups, I meet clients, it's so much more powerful. I stand in my power right now. I have no hesitation. Right? I remember the times when I used to go to a group meeting and I was dreading the moment it's going to come my turn to stand up and say, hey, I'm Gabriela and this is what I do. My heart was beating. I was like, oh, it's my turn again.
Right.
Now I'm like, me first. Like,
right.
I can share. Right. And my whole approach changed. My whole vision, my whole energy, the way I talk.
The way you carry yourself is different now. You know, from the first time that we met, it is totally different. Like, your vibe is so elevated. It's like, oh, she clearly knows what she's talking about. She obviously is the expert in this. It's just, it really has. It is, I can see the difference in you now. So, and what else have you seen? Where else do you see that people are lacking clarity in their business now, knowing what clarity is the way we teach it? Because it's very different. It's not just about messaging.
So what I see, and I see often, people don't know what to do. It's a very frequent question. What to do? What do I need to do? It's almost every day that I see it or somebody asks me this. What do I need to do? It's a lot of confusion out there. It's a lot of competition and confusion in a saturated world. And that's not helping.
And where do you see the clarity now for, how do you feel like you got clarity on that?
I got clarity in many areas in my business through talking to you and the program and all the steps that we took together. I have a very clear message. I have a very clear structure. I have a very clear strategy.
So you know what to do and what you need to be working on.
Yes.
Right. And for you too, specifically, you know, again, you've heard me say this in other videos. There's 3 places I look when someone's business is not performing in the way it needs to perform. Right. Number 1, I look at, do they have a mindset issue? Right. Is there like a limiting belief? Are they having negative self-talk? Are they like, what's going on with them? Are they misaligned energetically? The second thing, like as an example, a big one where I can catch it with people is, are they coming across as desperate? Right? Is the way that they're coming across desperate? The second thing that the second place I look is their strategy. Is their strategy on enough? Do they have a good message? Or do they not have a good message? Are they marketing to the right people? Are they using the right channels to market to the right people? Like, is there a strategy problem? And if not, is there an execution issue? Right? And if there's an execution issue, it's like, go talk to Gabriela, number one. Or number two, it really usually goes back to either poor planning habits, or it goes back to that mindset piece, right? You don't have an execution issue. You don't have a mindset issue. You literally, it was like, you just needed the strategy to kind of, to like break through the dam for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think that we both see this in working with our clients, that there's that moment where like the light bulb goes off and they're like, oh,
yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. Where they finally get it.
But you know what? I think it's important for everybody to know, the light bulb doesn't go off when you're by yourself. Ever.
True.
Ever.
True.
You need help. Whenever you find yourself stuck and you're moving, keep moving, but you're in the same place, that's a very strong indicator you need help.
Mm-hmm.
From that point, you don't move on if you are by yourself.
Right. And I think that, that's one of the things. So talk a little bit about what you feel is so different about PBI, because I know that you're getting there with you need help, because it's not just that people are getting help from me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so if you want me to talk about PBI, we can talk forever. I can my whole day to talk about this. So there are, for me, 3 points that are really sticking out. One, it's your commitment. I've been in so many programs. I'm part of so many groups. There is no one that has this level of commitment. You are there for us every step of the way, literally so. And because of your commitment, there is a family that's been created. It's the group that is so supportive, like, again, no other group I met before. The level of support, interaction, for me, it was a surprise, to be honest. I wasn't expecting this. I didn't came in strong with this because I was used to be a number.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't prepared for this.
So I do have a question about that, though. Oh, I'm getting a little echo here. That's right. Here, hold on. I'm going to take these out and then just talk here for a second. So I do have a question about that, because I talk a lot about how extraordinary the community is. And I talk about the level of support. Was it just that I was doing like a sales shtick?
No. No.
Why were you surprised?
Because, I was primed to think that when you get into a group, you are a number. Right? So for me, having this level of support and this kind of community, this kind of place where you really feel safe to come and share, it was so new. So new and so unexpected. And it's absolutely amazing. And it's not something that happens sporadically. It's every day. There is no day for me not to check in. And to have the people checking in. I had a moment when I came in and I asked for help. It took 10 minutes to have everybody supporting me.
Yep.
So
And I think that's important. And for those of you who are also creating groups out there, it's really important that this was designed intentionally. It wasn't an accident that our group got this way. And I'm actually going to be doing a training for our PBI students on exactly how to intentionally create this kind of community, because it's extremely intentional. It's the same way that I build such a high performance team. It's the same thing. And part of it is really creating that safety in the community where people can truly ask for help, because there's no judgment. There's no competition. We want everybody to win. Everyone wants everybody to win. And when they don't want someone to win, they're out, right? It's like, we don't tolerate that. We don't tolerate that here. That's not the place for this. Like, this is such a high vibe place. And we want to keep creating that kind of community by the people that we're bringing in.
Yes.
Okay. I keep interrupting you though. Okay. So number one, you talk about the support.
Yes. Your support, the group support, it's literally, it's a family. PBI, it's a family. And the third on my list is the bluntness.
The bluntness?
I love that when you need it, somebody's there to push you to the wall. It's either you or somebody else. It's pushing you to the wall until you break through. Sugarcoating and I don't know, fluff never got anybody anywhere. It's a very loving way of facing the truth and take action.
Yep.
And for me, this is a huge value. And the accountability, another one, because it just popped in my mind how there's nobody that can hide. And they
can try.
Exactly.
It doesn't work out super well.
This might sound scary, but actually it's a huge value. Because hiding is how we don't get the results. Hiding from transformation. It's a lot of transformation happening. It's not only execution of a set of guidelines or so. It's a lot of transformation happening. And that's where you want to hide. If you hide, it's gone. And it's normal. We all want to hide. It's not that I don't want to hide, but I already know I'm not allowed to, and somebody's going to get me. And for me, this is a huge, huge value.
Somebody's going to get me.
Yeah. Somebody's going to come and say, hey. In a gentle way.
True. Yeah, in a loving way. And it is true. And the reason why is it's not our job. Okay, so when you get into places where you're a number, and I've experienced this myself before, and I've witnessed it in other, in either other programs I've seen or other programs I've been a part of, like long time ago, not anything recent. So don't think I'm talking about anyone in particular. What happens is that if you are in a environment where the primary focus is the numbers, what happens is that it actually limits the mentor's ability to help you get results. This is actually, I'm doing a whole podcast on the de-evolution of the coaching industry, because, and I am not a coach. I just want to keep saying that. You actually gave me my new tagline. It's collaboration. You actually gave me my new tagline that's going up on my website: when you're ready to go beyond coaching, because that's not what I do. I'm not a coach. I am a consultant. This is a business incubator. It's different. And yes, there is a mentorship component to it. But here's what happens, you guys, is that when you're in some of these other some programs and you are a number, what they're most concerned about with is keeping you either content or quiet. Right? So they're not going to say anything to piss you off, because if they offend you and you quit, it messes with their numbers, right? The other thing that I think is also really different, and this is something that I think has just been it's terrible. It is terrible, is that what ends up happening is, if people do, like, say that you whatever, that someone leaves a community or whatever because they're pissed off, because they didn't do whatever the reason is, doesn't matter. So let's say they leave. In a lot of these groups, what ends up happening is, say they disappear, no one goes after them because they don't want to push, right? Because they don't want the negative repercussions. They don't want the potential negative press, especially with social media, when people can go and they can go out and they can, bitch and whine and moan publicly. And so what happens is that as a result of that, with mentors that are, if people want out of their agreements, they're just going to let them out and let them do it quietly because they don't want to push, because they just don't want they either don't want their revenue to go down or they don't want the backlash. Here's the problem is that when you're in that place of operating like that as a mentor, you really are not being of service to your clients, because it's not all fluff. Sometimes you need to have the courage to say the hard things.
Yes.
And sometimes they don't want to hear it. Sometimes they're not ready for it, but you've got to be willing to say that. And I'm not talking about being an asshole to people. I'm talking about, you've got to be willing as a mentor, as a leader in your communities, to stand for the clients when they are not willing to stand for themselves, or they're not able to stand for themselves. And you need to hold them to the life that they want, not the life that you want. Yeah, it is totally, whoever just said that, it's totally a scarcity mentality. Not to the life that you want, to the life that they want. And sometimes they need I think it was Marion who said to me the other day, I think I need a Kelly O'Neill, a loving bitch slap. Right. And it really is like, my clients actually call it love notes, because I often will start things with, I am saying this with love, but you're totally fucking off right now. And you need to like step up your game. I'll say, because you've got to be able to hold your clients accountable to that level of, and you cannot be afraid to do that. It's like, and if that means that you get a couple of shitty social media comments from most people can vet that stuff out anyways. It's like, whatever, I'm not going to stop being a stand for my clients. Yeah. It's important.
I call this actually integrity.
Right? Yes. There's that. It is a dying art, unfortunately.
Shitty comments you're going to get, even if you're the sweetest person in the world. Somebody's going to trash your thing regardless.
Totally.
Right? But haters
going to hate.
Yeah, exactly. For me, what you're doing is integrity.
Yeah, and I think that's important. And when you stand for that, here's the other thing. When you stand for that, your clients then, can also emulate that and hold people in that loving space, because you're giving them permission to all hold one another accountable, and you're demonstrating it in a very loving, supportive way.
Yes.
Right? In a very loving, supporting way. So I don't even have to, like, people will really be more honest with one another. Like, hey, I've noticed you doing something, and I think this may be why it's not working for you. And they'll start to share those things, because we've created that experience where it is safe to be honest. It is safe to be real. It is safe to hold each other up with love.
Exactly. And that's exactly why in PBI there is so much collaboration. Right? There are so many beautiful relationships emerging.
Right? Lifelong.
That's because you inspire everyone and you hold everyone to these higher standards.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh, it is truly my pleasure. It is why I do this work in the world. So for people out there, Gabriela, who are thinking about joining PBI, you would say what?
Come and get us. Don't waste your time. This is what I'm saying. So
I love it.
it's, you know how it is. At the end of the day, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, you look back and you say, what could I have done?
Mm-hmm.
Joining PBI is one of them. If you want to get somewhere and you're on the fence, PBI is an answer.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for sharing your story and your, you know, I think that people need to hear more of these, you know, real life, like, you know, behind the scenes, and then also really hearing the experience of where people are getting stuck in business and how you're getting yourself unstuck and why that's important. You guys, if you are interested in connecting with Gabriela, which you should be, because she is fabulous. Obviously, you can do that in Profitology Business Incubator. And also, where else are you, my darling? Where else shall they connect with you? On your website or Facebook or?
I'm on my website, productivitythinktank.com, and Facebook page, the same Productivity Think Tank. Gabriela at Productivity Think Tank.
Productivity Think Tank. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us today. You guys, if you were interested in learning about our Profitology Business Incubator program or any of our other offerings, and you want to see if it's a good fit for you, please go to profitologybusinessincubator.com. When you get on that page, you can see all the things that are PBI. And if you've got questions, there's a great little button at the bottom of the page that you can actually connect with one of our client enrollment specialists. And here's the deal. And Gabriela will attest to this. We will tell you if it's a good fit or not, because we are very selective in the individuals that we bring into our program. So I want to thank you so much. Thank you, Gabriela, for joining us today. And until next time, it is my pleasure. Until next time, thank you guys for watching.